Hi, this has been a very interesting first several modules of this class, and I really had a good time working through a lot of the very challenging lessons and in developing, and most recently in developing our own unit plans and our own lesson plans. Our what when I first developed my lessons, I had already gone through several modules where we touched on issues of students with different readiness difficulties and problems, and we also touched upon things like flipping the classroom and choosing multiple methods of delivering the topics, as well as in making formative and summative assessments. So in my first lesson plans, what I tried to do was to build out a lesson, an 80-minute lesson that covered a number of different formative assessments and summative assessments, as well as different delivery mechanisms that would be appealing to the students. My first my first cut, I had decided already that I would start out the lesson with about 15 minutes of lecture, just introducing the topic and actually doing the lecture and teaching the material. Then I would offer a video to the students where they would be able to get the subject matter reinforced through a video, and those students that maybe learn better through watching videos rather than through a live classroom, that might be beneficial to them. The third thing I built into the lesson plan after that was to have the students each to choose an individual student from the class and have that individual go through a problem, fresh problem, and based on what we talked about earlier in the day, lead a class discussion to getting the students involved. And I thought that was a good way to kind of, not only for the presenter, but for the students in the classroom to kind of have some fun with working together with their fellow students and in trying to learn the material. Then fourth, I had a parent share where the students would work together to develop the materials for their classroom. For the particular problem. And then after they've done that, first individually, then they would work together, share results, and then come back to have a classroom discussion about the results of what they as a group determined the answer to be. I thought that this would create a great opportunity for me as the teacher to walk around the classroom when the students were working independently and see how they were performing and how well they understood the materials. A good opportunity to sit one-on-one with a student that didn't seem to be getting it, and or maybe for whatever reason, and give that student some one-on-one, either right then, or kind of make a note in my mind that this is someone that maybe I want to sit down with after the class is finished, and make the presentation and make a further presentation of the material to the student. Also a way of me learning whether or not they come into the class maybe not quite ready because maybe they don't have the raw materials, and then that would obviously lead to greater greater amount of intervention on my part with inviting the student to meet with me after class and maybe suggest they have tutors or give them some special some additional lessons in the materials that they should have learned before, but that they seem not to have learned. So I think that I was pretty proud of the class arrangement, the lesson plan that I had set up front. I think that there were a few things that over the course of the last module or so that I added is the sections on specifically on ADHD and readiness, and specifically covering how I would deal with multicultural issues. And I've now gone back and made sure that each one of my lesson plans has that information in there for each individual lesson plan. The other thing that occurred to me as we were going through is reviewing the materials was that I didn't really do anything related to flipping the classroom, and that was something that when we had talked about it in an earlier module, I was kind of pumped up about, and I thought, yeah, this is something I got to do. And I'm not sure exactly how it came to me, but it just did. And also when we were doing the lesson on sensitivity to culture and language, it occurred to me that there was something more that I can do. So what I've built into the lesson plan is I've taken the video out of the actual class lesson, and I've turned it into is something that the class would do the night before the lesson. That they would view the video, and I would give them multiple videos in different languages so they could choose the language that they're most comfortable to view the video. And then they would do homework assignments, and then as an added element of homework problems, and as an added element of mobile learning, ask them to submit those homework questions and answers online. So I thought that would be a pretty cool way of getting the students to use technology and to try to do some learning on their own at home, and including attempting to apply the materials by doing a couple of homework problems. And that would give me a sense too, before the class even started, as to which students may have gotten it from just looking at the videos, or maybe which students may be struggling a little bit more, and I could pay a little bit more attention to them in the class the next day based upon their homework. And so what we would do is we would replace that video time from the classroom with time to go through those homework problems. And I will already know in advance as to which students did those problems well and which ones didn't. And that would give me an opportunity to focus in and laser focus on some of the students that maybe need a little bit more help. So I think that was the major change that I made to my overall lesson plan from the original, is kind of flipping that video into a flipped classroom type of delivery mechanism, plus with an element of video learning and mobile learning, and an element of of language sensitivity. Um, I guess the one thing that I worry about is, am I going to be able to, not speaking the languages, be able to evaluate whether a given video on a given subject is good or not. But I think I can kind of look at the video, even if it's in a foreign language, and just get a sense as to whether it's on target and it's presenting the materials well, even if I can't really understand what they're saying. So at least that's my expectation and my hope, and I'll figure it out as I go along if that doesn't seem to be the case. So that was it in a nutshell. This has been again a good experience. I'm looking forward to delivering the lessons. Oh, the one other thing that I learned is that I originally envisioned this as being a 5-lesson unit, and that was kind of what the intention was. But I think, and I could be wrong, but I think that having spent the time going through the detail as to what exactly needs to be presented and what the assignments are, I think it's more of a 3-lesson unit. I think that the what I thought would be a separate a separate class just focused on the analysis and the interpretation. I think now that can be built into the classes themselves, and also with the respect to the standard deviation and the interquartile ranges and the median and the mode. I originally thought those topics would take 3 classes, but again, after sitting down and really thinking through the lesson plan, I think those could be covered in 2 lessons. So I think that altogether the materials in these first 2 statistics and probability standards under the Common Core could be covered off in 3 lessons. So the flipping the classroom with the videos and the homework assignments and the reduction in the number of lessons it would take to deliver the material from 5 to 3, I think are probably the 2 biggest changes, or the 2 big changes that I've made as a result of going through the process over the past month or so in this particular module. Thank you.